Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the Battle Report. So I brought out my Beast Herd army again, and I'm facing Vampire Covenant. So this list I'm using is similar to the one I brought to Adepticon. The main actually, this is the list that I originally designed, and then I changed it the day before. So in preparing for this game, I didn't prepare. I just grabbed a list that I had printed. Um, so anyway, that's you should be somewhat familiar with my army, and the army I'm playing against might be familiar to you if you saw the mega game that I posted just a couple battle reports ago. His list has changed a little bit, but a lot of the fundamentals are still there. So starting on the right, he's got a unit of wraiths, a unit of skeletons with spears, another unit of skeletons with spears, a unit of bat swarms, which look really cool by the way if you take a close look at them later. He's got the only unit in his army that I'm concerned about, which is a unit of Barrow Guard. There's a whole bunch of them in there, and they've got two characters, a Vampire Courtier and a Barrow King. So the Vampire Courtier gives them, because he has the banner of the Barrow Kings, he gives them +1 to hit. So I think that's crazy. For only 25 points, these guys are hitting on +1. That seems like an auto include in every list I would take. And the Barrow King gives them distracting, so they're a little bit harder to hit, which with the Beast Herds army I'm not as concerned about, because if I get my Wild Horns in there, they can re-roll to hit, so minuses to hit don't affect them nearly as much as it would other people. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the backbone of his army. Let's see, behind him, he's got a unit of zombies, and he's got three characters. So basically, he put his general and his two other spellcasters in there, and he's just hiding them behind his lines. So you can see how they're kitted out. One thing I find interesting is the his Lord level caster has the Lore of Fire, which I thought was interesting, and then one of his necromancers has the Ring of Fire. So for an army that doesn't have much shooting and a lot of the magic just regrows stuff, here he has a fair bit of points so that he can actually have some kind of damage output. I think that's a really good combination because even level 1 necromancers, and he has a bound spell to allow him to raise stuff, as far as I'm concerned, is plenty. So, yeah. Then he's got an altar of undeath and a unit of ghasts. I've got a unit of 25 wild horns that are ambushing. I have two briar beasts ambushing. Otherwise, in the far right, a unit of gargoyles, then a beast giant, then a jabberwock. Just a line of stuff. I've got if you don't know, I have these old metal Games Workshop dragon ogre models that I use for my razor tusks. I've got two chariots. The one on the outside of my center is on both sides is a raiding chariot, and the one on the inside is a razor tusk chariot. Now, for the rest of the game, I played all of them as if they were raiding chariots, just because I didn't think about it, and the modeling on them is so similar. I need to build new chariots with a different look to them. So then I've got my big, I was going to say bunker units, more than a bunker, but just a whole bunch of wild horns. I've got three characters. I've got my general with the build that I think is just really good. I've got my battle standard bearer. He's got totems. He's got the banner of the wild herd, which has changed now. It's one use only. You pop it, and for one player turn, everybody has +1 strength. Um, Now, what I will do in the future if I change my list is because they redesigned that, it's cheaper. So my standard bearer in this unit can carry that, which is what needs to be done. I've got a gnarled soothsayer in there. He's level 3 Path of Wilderness. All game long, I played him as level 1. I even only rolled one spell, and I was not a big deal. I was just it wasn't intentional. I just didn't pay attention to my list. If you can see on the left, I've got another unit of gargoyles behind my lines, another razor tusk chariot, another raiding chariot, another razor tusk, and then that is the Games Workshop model for the Gorgon, and I'm using it as another beast giant. So I deployed first, knowing I'd get to go first. I did a very symmetrical right in the middle of the table thing. Obviously, we're doing a diagonal deployment. My opponent was able to deploy based on what I did. So then I have the pillager icon, so I vanguarded up stuff here. The giant on the right can vanguard anyway because he's sober, so he moved away from the wraiths. The wraiths scare me because they could just kill all these monsters, and I actually don't have any tools for them except when I rolled my one spell. I got the thing where you get 5d6 strength 1 hits. It's the only tool I have except my general to handle those wraiths. Um, so anyway, I'm vanguarding away from the wraiths on that side. I move up a little bit here. Um, I like the idea of I like the idea of tempting them with that charge. If he charged the Razor Tusk and made it, um, and then stuck, then I could countercharge with a whole bunch of stuff. If he overruns, he would hit the chariot, and then on my turn, I could counter with a whole bunch of stuff. So not too worried about that. So this is the original deployment. So what I'm thinking here is that unit that's highlighted blue, that's his Barrow Guard. It's the only unit I'm worried about. And I think you do one or two things against it. If you don't think you can handle it with anything, a list like mine, you just chaff it up all game. If nothing else, just you bring the Razor Tusk and the Gargoyles on the right. You bring them over to the left. So now you have two Razor Tusks and two Gargoyle units. You have four chaff units that can just keep that unit chaffed up all game long, and you just take apart everything else in his army. Alternatively, if you think you can handle it, then you use your chaff to slow down everything else, and you just go kill that unit. I tend to think that my unit of wild horns, especially with any kind of support, like a flank charge by a monster or two, throw a chariot or two in there, I think that we actually win that. And the one thing I'm concerned about is what that unit can do to my characters because they have multiple wounds too versus infantry. And so all I have to do is sneak one wound through on my characters, and they're just going to die. Well, my BSB would die, and my general would only survive two of those. Um, Nevertheless, that's my initial thinking with a list when I'm facing like this. I think my list, just with all the different units, increased mobility, and quite frankly, his units of skeletons just don't worry me. But I chose to do neither of those things. I decided just to play around with some other tactics to see what the beast herds can do. So I get the first turn. Movement, you'll see in the next. I didn't take a picture of the movement. You'll see in the next picture what it looks like. But my two Briar Beasts, they come on any game turn. So they popped up in the woods over here. I like these guys aren't ferocious or anything, but they can really be distracting for people. So nothing else of significance happened. I moved my characters out of the big bunker unit because I knew I decided I wasn't going to take them into the Barrow Guard. So it's hard to tell in the picture, but my general is just to the right of my main unit, standing out there by himself. The battle standard bearer is behind the unit. Yeah, everything looks like that. So this is Vampire Covenant turn 1. He does what you can see. Over here, yeah, so his Wraiths charge both of these units, the fleeing Razor Tusk and the fleeing Gargoyles. I flee with both. I just want those guys I want them as far away from me as possible. I need to just cast some magic spells at them. I don't think those things can win the game for my opponent, but they're going to be a real thorn in my side. Not a real thorn, it'd be a minor thorn in my side. So over here, he turns his gas around. My opponent knew that I had this ambushing stuff. I don't think he appreciated what random movement means and what it can do. So I think in hindsight, if we were to play this game again, he would deploy differently to protect his back ranks. So meanwhile, he just turns his gas around, and this is more accurate with what he does with his Altar of Undeath. So if those two things decide to charge it, they're both at least in the front. His zombie unit, he reformed them so they're facing towards my Briar Beasts, and he hasn't moved the models around. But basically, his general and his other level 1 are all the way on the far left, facing this way. The models aren't there, but that's where he said they are. And of course, the Cadaver Wagon is facing this way. So he wants to cast some Lore Fire spells at these guys. He tries it, and he ends up doing a single wound. It's really kind of a fail. My guys now, because I can pivot and go skirt right around that Altar of Undeath, and thereby hit his characters, they're going to go see if they can snipe characters. So we go to Beast Herds turn 2, and the fun begins. So we look over here. I'm going to go. So what I do here is I charge a chariot and my beast sword at his skeleton unit. I charge the wild horns at the bat swarms. So they're going to easily kill the bat swarms. The problem is they can't overrun and hit the skeletons because they won't fit. They'll hit the general, and there's no way I could position things to avoid that. So what we have going on is how quickly can the Beast Lord and the Chariot whittle down that huge unit of skeletons. I think they'll hold them up all game. I don't think the skeletons will ever win that, or if they do, they won't win it by enough to break my guys. Um, but um, I'm curious, how fast can my guys whittle them down? And then you can't really see it in this picture. I'm going to go back one, but I moved my battle standard bearer up where you can see him to take the charge with the other skeleton unit. Now that's going to be interesting because um, when they charge in, they're going to have a charge and they'll have 3 ranks. So they're gonna win by 4 if they don't do any wounds to me. If I don't do any wounds to him, what I'm banking on is I do wound or 2. I'm on a 9 minus 2 or 3, so I'm on a 7 rerollable, um, and candy stick. So I thought that might be fun to see what happens there. There we go. We already talked about that. Over here on the left, you can see my ambushing unit came on, so you can see what I did there. In hindsight, I really should see with a piece of paper is that's where I should have brought him. I should have stayed well away from his ghasts. And after combat, yeah, so we went in there to just try to snipe his characters. This is after the battle, and then my opponent's reformed, so it was a little bit different than before. But anyway, both of my Briar Beasts are touching his general. They throw all their attacks into him, and they do a single wound. They just absolutely epically fail. I take another wound to the Briar Beast on the left, and we stick. Now, what sucks about this is my opponent's turn. It's gonna be really easy for him to grow that wound back. This guy's he's just a necromancer. He's got 3 wounds. I mean, I should be able to kill this guy. Um, Nothing, whatever. My guys are unbreakable. They should be okay. And over here, my opponent lets me get through a totem on my general, so he has an extra attack just to try to speed things up there. We get in a challenge. I kill his champion. I'm just really hoping he doesn't grow wounds back here and keep on tying my general up with a champion, because I'll never work through this whole unit if that happens. And okay, so we go to Vampire Covenant turn 2, and look on the top right, his skeletons charge my battle standard bearer. I'm a little bit worried about the static combat res there. If you look at the middle left, his barrel guard charge by redirecting Razor Tusk. He's going to kill him and reform, and then yeah, and then you'll have to see. So there's a close up there. There's a close up there. That one scared me a little bit. I put a totem on him, so he's distracting. So it's -1 to hit him, because there are just a lot of attacks coming. Um, so he's got like I want to say he has a 2-up armor save, I think. Anyway, and over here, so yeah, after combat or after his magic phase, his general takes a wound, gets his wound back, so that sucks. And after combat here, yeah, he didn't do any wounds to me. I don't think I did any wounds to him, so he wins by a charge and 3. He wins by 4. I'm 9 minus 4 is a 5. I'm gonna 5 rerollable. I'm thinking, how stupid are you? I was just, even if I did a wound, it'd be 6 rerollable. Like, why on earth did you think that would work? And 5 rerollable. I think you have a 45% chance, 43% chance of making that, and he made it. So, awesome. Bad plane still works out. So we go over here. You'll notice he did not regrow this unit, so he's missing more models. So we're just seeing how fast can this Beast Lord churn through rank and file. Over here, he kills one of the Briar Beasts, and it looks like his general is now dead. So he takes crumble tests all over the board. Nothing of significance happens. It just did nothing. And then now the guy on the cadaver wagon is his new general, and we move on. So, his level 3 is gone. Lore of Fire, whatever. His other guy's taken only 1 wound. So we go to the Beast Herds turn 3. Overall, it looks like that. So, well, let's just take a closer look. So here on the right, I throw a chariot and my gargoyles into this unit. Now I'm not worried about. I'm going to win this. Now I don't know how fast these guys can churn through this unit. I have a Razor Tusk redirecting his wraiths. That's going to buy me a little bit of time, but these guys really need to do some work to free themselves up from that. So kind of a wonky picture, but basically I did this saying this is not going to work. 2 chariots and 2 beast giants into this unit of Barrow Guard gets their butts handed to them. But that's okay. So we wanted to see what could they do to them. And you never know. It could be that they survive and just break from combat. And if that happens, There might be a chance that I whittle the barrel guard down enough so that my big unit of wild horns can handle them. So we'll see how that turns out. I charge the flank of the zombies. Another good thing, the reason why I should have charged the rear is it would have kept my opponent from being able to regrow them until he could reform and face me. And he could only do that once the Briar Beast was dead. So that's another reason why I should have brought him in differently than I did. After combat, the gargoyles did work. These guys came in and just wrecked face. All those models that are missing, you can thank the gargoyles for that. I did not appreciate how well they just got lucky with their rolls, but they did well. And over here, yeah, so I killed uh, the other necromancer on foot. So now he's got a general on this cadaver wagon who is pretty much perfectly safe. And yet another reason I should have brought my ambushing unit behind the zombies was now I could have been attacking the cadaver wagon the whole time. And again, he couldn't be regrowing them because until he reformed because he couldn't push me away. So something to keep in mind there. After combat, yeah, it's kind of what I expected. One chariot survived and just broke from combat. He easily killed one giant, put 4 wounds on another giant, easily killed the other chariot. Just wrecked face on these guys. So, and if you look at them, I did hardly anything to them. It was so frustrating. I think, like my impact hits, I rolled, I think, a 3 with the 2 chariots. Like, awesome. So, combat over here, yeah, we're just churning through things. We go to Vampire Covenant turn 3. Overall, the table looks like that. Yeah, so this Razor Tusk is being redirected, or he's doing his job redirecting, but he's gonna die. Um, yeah, so the gas charged the rear of the Briar Beast. The Altar of Undeath charges its flank, so they're easily going to kill it. Easily going to kill it, and they do. And now my guys, now I'm just easily going to lose this. Again, if they were behind him, totally on the other side from these units, he would just have nothing really to do with them. And yeah, of course, the giant died. They reform. So when the giant died, it forced a panic test on my leftmost gargoyles, which is a shame because they were about to charge the Altar of Undeath, and I think they would have done okay against it. But they didn't like that giant dying, so they fled. So I've got a chariot who fled from combat, and my gargoyles who fled from the giant dying. Over here, we're churning and burning, and we go to Beast Herd's turn 4. So really, I move my Jabberwock away from his barrel guard. I mean, I really should have just kind of flown him over um, to just maybe pick up points with the Altar of Undeath. But what I decided to do was flying behind my unit so that if his barrel guard charge, I'm just going to flee, and I want them to bounce through the Jabberwock. He is immune to psychology, so he's not going to care, and the barrel guard would just be stuck there without anything to do. I think they can charge the chariot. They can't see my general, so they could countercharge the chariot. They might fail it, and even if they don't, I'm not really that worried about that. They have Swift Stride, by the way, so it makes them fairly mobile. Over here on the right, the general's still churning through stuff. On the right, they really, because the gargoyles are awesome, they finish off that whole unit, and now they just have to take charges by the wraiths, which just kind of sucks. But I don't know what to do. I'm really wishing I had a 5-point magic sword on my battle standard bearer. I don't like not having any tools. Whenever those wraiths have been out of combat, I'm throwing a ton of dice at the magic spell trying to whittle them off, and I just can't get the spell through. So we go to the Vampire Covenant. The wraiths charge the gargoyles. His barrel guard charge my wild horns. They flee, and they fail their redirect test. So I thought that was kind of funny. Pretty difficult to do, actually. His gas charge flank of this unit, so yeah, I'm kind of screwed there. Gargoyles have no chance whatsoever. They die, and these guys over into my battle standard bearer. He's got like a 2-up armor save, but that doesn't do any good against these guys. And yeah, meanwhile, these guys are still churning. I mean, I think they're doing okay punching through these guys. My chariot's down to like he's taken 3 wounds because whenever these spear wielding skeletons roll a 6, I get no armor save. And yeah, that's why if the barrel guard had redirected into that, they would have killed it. But we only got 1 wound for their trouble. I think my general still would have stuck. And over here, I lose combat, but these guys are steadfast on a 7, and they stick. So I thought that was pretty sweet. Um, I think a 7, maybe it was a 6. I don't know if any of those guys, if the gas caused fear. So we go to Beast Herd's turn 5. Yeah, so my Wild Horns rally, which I thought was nice. I pulled everything, well, you can see what I did there. I pulled my Jabberwock into the combat here just because I need these guys dead now. I am tired of waiting around. I need my general free. I take this chariot on the left. He had rallied on my last turn, so on this turn he charges the flank of the Barrow Guard. I just need him to hold up. He will have a flank and a charge, and I'm hoping with impact hits to at least do some wounds. And then I'm hoping that he just doesn't get killed. And I think there's a good chance that he won't die. The question is, can he stick? And over here, these guys lose combat again, but they stick yet again. I take back what I said about them being steadfast. They've never been steadfast. But they're just... they're killing enough zombies that they're not losing combat by much, and they're sticking, which is very much appreciated. With the help of the Jabberwock, yes, we finally kill that unit. My general turns to face the Wraiths. He's finally something that can handle them. Look at my Battle Standard Bearer. He stuck around. My opponent just rolled awfully and only did 1 wound to him. Over here, I forgot what I needed, but I failed my break test by 1. So he fled. And these guys charge my Jabberwock. They are easily going to kill him. And then over here, look at that. He's still whittling away my my Wild Horns, but they're doing enough wounds to the zombies that everybody just sticks around all game long. Yeah, so these guys kill the Battle Standard Bearer. That's okay because I can charge them with my general, and he should be able to handle them very easily. Except that the Jabberwock easily dies, and of course the overrun hit his rear, which I saw was going to happen. Now they're going to have a charge, a rear, a couple banners. I mean, it'll be almost auto break for my Beast Lord. So I said, what the heck? All game long, I'm thinking my Wild Horns cannot handle this unit. And I'm like, well, let's just see what they can do. So they charge in. This guy finally gets his spell off. This is turn 6. I finally get the spell, the only spell I've been trying to cast and get through all game. And yeah, it kills probably what it should have. Kills 3 of them. I think they might have lost 1 in combat. Anyway, and we go over here. My guys are down to 3, and they still stick around. My opponent's like, what's going on with these guys? And over here, yeah, it went better than I thought. My guys actually stuck. The Beast Lord broke from combat. You can see him running away, but obviously he got away. We go to the Vampire Covenant's last turn. Overall, it looks like that. Charging these guys in the rear. And over here, we have 1 Wild Horn left, and he sticks. This guy's like my hero. And yeah, these guys had no chance whatsoever. They got absolutely demolished, and the game ends like that. Now we were playing a Blood and Glory scenario, which didn't really affect too many decisions in the game. I mean, we didn't really think about it, but we figured out that I actually we kind of borrowed this scenario from the old Games Workshop Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. So playing with that kind of scenario going on, I broke his Fortitude first, so I got some extra points for that. And with that, it ended up being, I think, a minor win for the Vampire Covenant. But whatever, it was a super fun game. Took a long time. We had so many long, drawn-out combats. We had fun playing here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.